Iesous, Jesus, Jésus, Yeshua, Iesous,
Yeshua. Now, the name of Jesus of Nazareth is recorded for us in the Greek New Testament as Iesous. So the first question we have to answer is, what is the Hebrew name underlying the Greek name Iesous? Since this, of course, is a Greek version of a Hebrew name and not the Hebrew name itself. Well, if you look at the Septuagint, the ancient Greek translation of the Hebrew Old Testament, the earliest parts of which were translated about 200 or more years before Jesus of Nazareth was born, you will find that the name Iesous appears almost 250 times. In every case, it corresponds with one of two names, Yehoshua, which in English Bibles is translated as Joshua, or Yeshua, which in English Bibles is translated as Jeshua. Yehoshua was the more original and longer form of the name, and Yeshua was a shorter and later form of the name. Now, the Greek version of the name is clearly based off of the form Yeshua, which was much more popular in the Hellenistic period. It wasn't based on Yehoshua, since its phonological structure corresponds as much as it could to Yeshua. There's an initial iota corresponding to the y sound, an eta corresponding to the long e sound, a sigma corresponding to Hebrew sh, and then an omicron ypsilon corresponding to the Hebrew long u vowel. And then finally, you just add the Greek nominal inflection on to the end of the name. So now that we have determined that Greek Iesous ultimately corresponds to Hebrew Yeshua, it is thus most likely that when Jesus, his family, and his disciples said his name, they pronounced it as Yeshua. When he traveled to other places, however, for example the Decapolis, it is possible that those more heavily influenced by Greek pronounced his name as Yeshu. In Jerusalem, where there would have been both Greek and Hebrew, Aramaic in heavy supply, the guttural might have weakened but not elided entirely. Those residents might have pronounced it, but with a helping vowel, as Yeshua. All three pronunciations, Yeshu, Yeshu, and Yeshua, existed in the first century. So how do we get to the form in English? The Hebrew form Yeshua goes into Greek as Iesous. This gets picked up into Latin as Iesus, which eventually comes into English as Jesus, since Latin I before vowels often ends up as J in English. Nothing to do with Zeus, just normal language development. Not every language, however, got the name Jesus through Greek. Take a look at Arabic, which pronounces the name as Yasur, keeping the final Ain sound.